Well, welcome to Astrology Motivation. This is the full moon in Aquarius. Astrology Motivation. Now, this is the second full moon in Aquarius we've had in a pretty short period of time. So, I want to see, really, I'm going to see how many people get on because I'd like to see how it went for you. The full moon in Aquarius was a moon filled with surprises, and these surprises really come in the realm that Aquarius really rules, which is our society, our social, our community interactions, who we are and how we are to others, connections, friendships, if you see. What's up, Eddie? Friendships, if you will. So this full moon would have brought sort of surprises as to how people feel about you, your friendships especially, and what friendships can do for you, and how they can connect you to others, and how friendships can grow, and surprise twists that will come out of these connections. And sometimes surprises can be beautiful and surprises can be bad. You know, people can let you down, and then unexpectedly other people can emerge. And if you watch the weekly astrology forecast, you'll see that this is what's going to be happening this whole week. It's like this full moon has really kicked off a trend of social surprises, of running into people, bumping into people, not knowing that you were connected to somebody, and now all of a sudden you're connected to them that can actually help, or people that you really, what's up, Robbie? People that you really thought were your friends not showing up, but other people like being there for you. This is sort of the kickoff to that kind of week. And think surprises in your friendships, your social networks, your groups. It's not about status. It's not even about popularity. It's about the connection itself. So I would like to know, and I hope I can read these comments because sometimes I can't see them, but I'd like to know how it all... I would like to know how it all went for you guys. How did you find your full moon? I celebrated my full moon with friends, and it was rewarding, to say the least. And I went to what they call a sound bath, and a sound bath is really being bathed in sound. The tools that the instructors use are the Tibetan bowls, a gong, and a didgeridoo they added this time around. So sounds that, hi to everybody who's joined. I can't see any comments. I don't know why. Hi to everybody who's joined. So it's basically just lying there. It's not like yoga. It's not movement. It's patience. It's meditation is really what it is. And I lost my mind. I've never experienced, because I've gone to 2 sound baths before, and this was a summer seasonal sound bath. And I've just never experienced this sensation before. I was very aware, and as the facilitators, I'll call them, because they're my yoga instructors, but they're facilitators of this sound bath. As they stated beforehand, there was this whole feeling of, sometimes the sounds are uncomfortable. They really get into you and get into parts of you and shake you and break into those parts that need to crack open. The vibrations are very liberating, but they're also very, there can be dissonance. Why? Because you need to be tuned. And that's what I love about sound baths, is they kind of retune you. And I'll talk to you a little bit later about what else I've been doing to retune myself, and share that experience with you guys, because I haven't talked about it yet. But for the sound bath, I experience those feelings, and you can just, it's exceptional. You are bathed in these vibrations all around you, and you can't escape them. They're just overwhelming, right? And you get all these visions in your head and all these thoughts in your head. You're kind of purging. And then the didgeridoo came out, and I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, all these different things in my head that I'm thinking. And then I lost it. I completely went unconscious. I don't know if it was a real falling asleep, because as soon as one of the facilitators started to talk again about, instructing us to start moving our limbs a little bit to help ourselves, I instantly heard that. But until that point, I don't know where I was. I can't tell you where I went. It was just I was gone. And the images that I started to get in my head were of just dragons. These images of dragons, like clouded, foggy, hinted at abstractions of just like these dragons all around me. And I'd never experienced anything like that before. So that was what I was doing on my full moon day. Now the full moon technically was in California, where I'm living, early, like 1 a.m. kind of thing, Sunday morning. And the moon, like maybe an hour later, slipped into void of course. And by 2 hours later, it was in Pisces. So by the time that most of you woke up, the moon was in Pisces. But its full status occurred still in the sign of Aquarius. So it's really interesting how that happened, because we already had a full moon in Aquarius. And very rarely does that happen, that you're going to have 2 full moons in the same sign. But it can happen. And I think there's a lot of shifts and changes that are happening, and shakeups, purges that need to happen in terms of our social interactions, in terms of gifts that have been withheld being given to us through friendships, through connections, or shit that we need to get away. Because the theme of every full moon is always purging, right? Getting rid of, and sometimes it's getting rid of those thoughts that hinder you, that hold you back, that make you limit yourself, right? In terms of your capabilities, possibilities, or what you can see is out there. And one of the best ways to unhinge yourself from limitation is to connect with somebody else's experiences. Other people are your best and fastest resource to see what else is out there. And we are very fortunate in that we have social media, things like YouTube, social media, everything, where people are constantly sharing their experiences. And so you can be constantly exposed to what other human beings with limbs and brains and IQs not too far from what you have, all doing different things. You can start to see the possibilities of where you could go. Because so often we limit ourselves to our own experiences. And our own experiences are extremely limited. They're limited by how long we've been alive. They're limited by how much money we've had. They're limited by where we come from in our childhood, how good our parents were to us, what we were exposed to. They're limited by maybe our education. We're very limited. There's only so much that one person can do until we reach out to others and see, well, what are they up to? And what have they found a way to do? And it's not about wanting what they want. It's about allowing yourself to be broadened, expanded, and enlightened in the realm of capabilities through the community. And this is Aquarius. This is Aquarius. Aquarius likes to think outside the box. Everybody says that Aquarius is very argumentative. And it can come off like that, and maybe some Aquarians are. But mostly it's because as soon as Aquarius energy hears an idea, it inspires another idea. And they keep adding ideas. Aquarians like to broaden and expand possibilities. They like to do those things. So really this full moon was about breaking through limitations, breaking through any kind of structures that had like blocked us in, maybe that we didn't even know about. And through other people and our connections to other people, open ourselves up to other opportunities. And this isn't necessarily intentional. This isn't necessarily that marketing strategy you built out or that networking group you built out. This is more, this really was very organic, because remember, it's all happening as the sun moves into Virgo. And Virgo is a very kind of pragmatic energy. It likes to deal in real time with real things, with real people, and it likes to manage people. So this was really an energy, a combined energy. And all this week, the sun and the moon mostly are in very favorable position to each other. So it's how is one energy helping the other? Well, it's kind of like helping us to organically build out our networks and our connection with each other, and maybe doing things for each other, helping each other, and how far that can get you, how far that can bring you in life. Just simple things that aren't done for anything in return except to connect and to be a good neighbor, be a good friend, be a good person. Like the 11:11, this is all what this full moon energy was really about. Hold on, because I want to check on some meat that I have for this little girl right here. Hold on. Still here. Yeah, so really interesting energy. And I would not be surprised if you guys were surprised with how things start to work out this entire week. With people you start to be introduced to. I will say this to you. A big secret for the success, I love you angels, of this week is kindness. It's 100% it's kindness. It's just doing things that are good and kind and helpful to others. If this is where your mindset can be, then this is where you're going to find a lot of doors opening for you. Now, let me get into something else that I did recently to rebalance my life. And I'm not doing this as a recommendation. I'm not talking to you about this as a recommendation. But I love the smell of this candle. It's so good. Recently, what I did was I had gotten really unhappy with my body. And so I decided to do a cleansing because I had really gotten extremely unhappy with the relationship I had to food. It was dependent, it was addictive, and it was unhealthy. So I started researching, mostly through YouTube videos, and I decided to go on a week-long all-water fast. And I didn't even set out to do it for a full week. I really just set out to do it for 48 hours because I do an all-water fast every single week on Mondays. I do an all-water fast to sort of just recalibrate myself. But I was like, I really need to kick myself into gear here. So I want to cleanse completely. So for 5 days straight, I had nothing but water. Nothing but water. And I mean just water. I didn't have Pellegrino. I didn't have flavored seltzer water. I didn't have my vitamins. And I didn't even take my medication for 5 days. And then on the 6th and 7th day, on the 6th day, I took my vitamins and my medication again, and I started to implement sparkling water, which it actually it's still part of the fast, and flavored sparkling waters, not sugared, just like flavored with the natural flavors of the distillation, and that kind of like mixed things up a bit. It was really nice, and then I broke my fast on the 7th day, and now I'm into the second week of just vegetables, raw vegetables, hummus. I've included guacamole and avocado, even though it's not technically a vegetable, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, and olive oil. And that's sort of my second week. And what I'm trying to do with this is to recalibrate my relationship with food, how much I need, how much I want, what I crave, because all of those things had gotten really, really out of whack. So I'll see how it goes. I'll update you next week to see how it goes. Surprisingly, the week with all water was not as bad as some people had experienced it. The week with all water was actually kind of, I wouldn't say easy. I had one really bad night where I was just really, really hungry. And I had a lot of, even though I hadn't eaten, I had a lot of like backwash from my stomach. And it was very uncomfortable. And that was like day 3. The night of day 3 was really intense. But after that, it was fine. I didn't crave things. I wasn't, when I went out with my friends or was around my friends, I didn't want to lurch over the table and like rip into them and just take their food. I didn't ever feel that. And it felt really nice. It felt really nice to learn that all the things that my brain was telling me I didn't need shit. I didn't need them. I don't need even a quarter of the food that I eat every week. There is no need about it. I don't need it. What I did need was to reset my body and to get a healthier understanding of my relationship to food, because food is not something that you can live without. It's not something that I want to live without, but it is something that I can have. And I know from my personal experience, I've had a lot of really I've had a bad relationship with food, just in terms of how much I eat and how addicted I get to specific foods. Sugar is a real problem for me. It's a real issue. So really for the next 7 days, I'm not going to eat anything but raw vegetables and hummus and those seeds. And I still don't feel like I'm deprived at all. And then next Sunday, I will add in meats, chicken and white fish, and I'll add in eggs and nuts. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing to sort of recalibrate myself. I wanted to, especially in Virgo season, where you really start to reconfigure your health. And schedules and plans really, really work in this energy. So I wanted to schedule out and plan and stick to the schedule. And what's really wonderful is I'm in the middle of my Mars return, and my Mars is in Virgo. And I think that's helped me a lot to focus. When I decide that I'm going to get something done according to a plan, I really stick to it in this energy. So the plan has actually really helped me a lot. You know, falling back on, well, you know what? You made it through day 1. You made it through day 2. You're this far into day 3. You're going to be fine. And it's really helped me to like stick with a plan. And I'm not a plan person. My North Node is in Virgo. Very difficult for me to apply that structure to my life. However, because it's where my North Node is, it's also extremely important for me to learn how to integrate those capabilities and those, it's really, important for me to integrate those capabilities into my life. Difficult, but very worthwhile. So, of course, I'll update you guys and I'll see how it goes, but that's what I've been doing. I think this week is going to be just an extension of the kickoff we felt with this full moon. The moon is in Pisces now. I wouldn't be surprised if you're really weepy, really dreamy, really sleepy. Sometimes that's what happens when the moon is in Pisces. But really creative and a lot of ideas. Very accepting, very kind, very integrative, because it's easy to accept people and not judge people when the moon is in Pisces. It's a great time to be open to building out new relationships, or when the moon is in Pisces, you're really usually very open to understanding other people because the judgmental aspect isn't in the way. And then, of course, the moon will go into Aries, and we're going to experience a lot of problems. I'm just letting you know that midweek, there's a lot of confrontations that are going to be happening. And this will be explosive. It will not ruin relationships. I think inevitably it will make them stronger. But, you know, this defensiveness, really what it's going to do is expose where you still feel really insecure. And those insecurities can be taken out easily on other people. Easily. And believe me, they're going to be taking them out on you too. So there's a lot of confrontations, right? But there's also a sense of, if you can't yell at your friends, who can you yell at? And I'm not encouraging you to yell at your friends or yell at your family members. In fact, a lot of the confrontations are probably going to be with family. But it's like necessary to let people see that there's still, maybe where sadness is, you know, maybe where insecurities still live, including you, to see where the insecurities still live. And then later on this week, thank God, we finish off the week with the moon in Taurus, and you're going to feel that lift. You're going to feel that, okay, I feel secure again. I feel okay again. And all of this is playing out in our friendships and close relationships. So I'd like to check in with you guys, how everything is going throughout the week. I do a daily tarot card reading. I'm going to go into the daily right after this over on Instagram. I hope you guys can join me, and I'll also post it over here. But I'd like to see, you know, how you guys are experiencing this energy. To motivate you this week, I would recommend two things in particular. Meditation, and I recommend this in the weekly astrology forecast. A minute of meditation every single day to ground yourself with those air qualities. But meditation helps to sort of level you out and center you. A minute, one fucking minute. And I don't want to hear anybody say that they can't find a minute's worth of time. Because if you can't find a minute's worth of your time for yourself, then you hate yourself. Know that. Seriously. So meditate for 1 minute, and you can do this as soon as you get up in the morning. Just sit up in bed, cross your legs, and meditate. Just hear your breath, hear the sound of your AC unit, concentrate on some white noise, and for a minute, really just focus on nothing but that white noise. 5 minutes of exercise I've also recommended, because getting into your body helps you get out of your head. 5 minutes of exercise can go a long way, and there's no such thing as not having 5 minutes. There's no such thing. You could go for a little bit of a 5-minute walk when you're on your lunch break at work, right? And I'll also recommend being kind, doing things for other people without the expectation of them doing something back. If you see a need, I'm encouraging you to fill the need. To go ahead and fill the need without worrying about, did they say thank you? Did they hold the door open for me? Just like if you see a need, fill it. Why? Because it lifts your spirit. It makes you realize how capable you are and how much you have when you can do something for others that gives them joy. It's an immediate connection to you having value and you seeing that you have value. You seeing that you can affect and influence the feelings of other people and make them better. People will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but they will never forget how you made them feel. I don't know who said that. I think it was Maya Angelou, but it's so true. And so uplifting somebody else with just a simple act of kindness, holding the door for them, smiling at them, letting them go through first, bringing food to them, calling them up, checking on how they're feeling. Such simple things that we all have access to do. Now, I'm not saying you do this for everybody. I'm not saying, the smile on the street you can do to a total stranger. You're not just going to walk up and bring food to a total stranger, right? But especially with your friendships, if you know that somebody needs something right now, offer it. Let yourself fill that need. If they need $1,000 and you only got $2,000 in your banking account, you can't do that. Don't do that. But if they need $1,000 so you know they're having trouble paying bills, maybe you can share something that you do have. Here, let me drive you someplace so you don't have to waste your gas. Or here, instead of you spending this money on a babysitter, I'll watch the kids that night. Or here, instead of you spending money on food, I'll bring you some groceries. Maybe that you can do to relieve something, relieve a tension in them that will help out. You know, you help out in the ways that you can, but it's going to go a long way in this energy. That Aquarius full moon really made it pop. You know, how important we are to each other and how we can change each other's day, and how even just surprise energies happen when we're helping and doing good. And God, it doesn't have to be huge. It's just these simple things that make magical impact, you know? And it's not even magical. It's actually really practical. I'm not getting any comments, so I don't know if you guys are talking. I can't see any. I don't know why I'm not getting any comments. I hate it because one of the major things I wanted to see, chat viewing options, some messages such as potential spam might not be visible. Live chat, all messages are visible. Super chat, member and super chat messages. Hide all chat messages? No, I never said that. I don't know why I'm not getting any chats. Are you guys just not talking? I mean, that's okay too if you just want to listen, but I really would love to know how you spent your weekend, and especially how you spent this full moon. Now, every full moon, what I do, and ritual really helps me. I just think it's really aided my life. So what ritual does for me is kind of like, it gives me check-in points twice a month. So every new moon and every full moon, I sage my house. I sit in a circle of candlelight. I meditate, I pray, and on the full moon, I'll write the things that I need to release. I'll burn them, and I'll cast the ashes outside. I sage my whole house. When you sage your whole house, you shut all the windows, you shut all the doors, you shut everything. You sage the shit out of the house. You hold it there for a second, and then you release it by opening up all the windows. So because what the sage does is it burns off and connects to all the old energy. And when the windows and doors open, it sucks out all that old shit and lets in new shit. And it's really, really good. And so doing that twice a month, I feel really keeps my home happy and light and up and balanced. And it also, like, making myself do these rituals, it's cleansing, it's helpful. That's one way that routine and schedule has really helped me. But it does help to be connected. It does help for me to be connected to sort of that higher schedule, something that's happening outside of me that I can then participate in. But it is very scheduled. We can depend on a new moon and a full moon every single month, right? And some months have 2 full moons. I'm not sure. I don't think this is a blue moon, because a blue moon is in the same month, not in the same season. So if we had 2 full moons in Leo season, remember Leo season begins in July. So for a full moon to happen, it has to happen, for a blue moon to happen, it has to happen in the same month. And of course we know that these do, but this moon was not a blue moon. But it was special because it was the double Aquarian full moon. Almost in Pisces, man, this close. But not because of technicalities. And it's because of those technicalities that I always tell you guys to check your natal chart. I have met 2 people now who have sworn they were one zodiac sign. They watched the zodiac sign, they watched the horoscopes for that zodiac sign, and they were not. Because when you check your natal chart, you know, when you Google, when does Aquarius season start? They'll usually tell you something like, January 21st or something like that. But it's not always that day. It goes by where the sun is. And sometimes the sun is in Aquarius on the 20th sometimes it's not there till the 22nd. You have to check to see, and it's the time that you're born too, because the sun shifts into signs at a certain increment. So at one part of the day, you could be born in Capricorn, and the other part of the same day, you could be born in Aquarius. And that's why knowing your birth, when you're when you're on those cusp days, the cusp days are usually the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of every single month. Then in February, it's a shorter month, so it's usually around like the 18th and 19th and the 20th. So watch those days, because those cusp days are really particular. And if you know that you're a cusp, then understand that it's really important for you to have the time of your birth so that you know where your sun actually was, instead of where you just kind of think it was because that's the random dates. They shift all the time, so it's really important to know that for sure. You can find your birth time on your birth certificate. My son just texted me last night, because your mom usually knows. That's why. Anyway, I'm going to get offline. I'm going to go over to the daily tarot card reading. I hope that you guys, thank you so much for 30 people joining today. I love that you're participating. I will be back here next Monday to talk about more astrology motivation topics with you. Enjoy this still full moon energy, and enjoy the surprises that will come up this week. I think ultimately they will be pleasant surprises. Ultimately. Maybe not right away, but ultimately. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you, well, if you're on Instagram, in a few minutes. Bye, guys.